Hi guys, welcome back to another video on my channel. My name is Shamika Faith, also known as Face by Faith. In today's video, we are jumping right into Job chapter 2 in this three-part series. I said this before, but I'm going to say it again. The book of Job has taught us how important it is to lean on God and still have faith during times of suffering. God gives, God takes, but ultimately He restores. So let's get right into it. One day, the members of the heavenly court came again to present themselves before the Lord, and the accuser Satan came with them. "Where have you come from?" the Lord asked Satan. Satan answered the Lord, "I have been patrolling the earth, watching everything that's going on." Then the Lord asked Satan, "Have you noticed my servant Job? He is the finest man in all the earth. He is blameless, a man of complete integrity. He fears God and stays away from evil. And he has maintained his integrity, even though you urged me to harm him without cause." Satan replied to the Lord, "Skin for skin. A man will give up everything he has to save his life, but reach out and take away his health, and he will surely curse you to your face." Before I move on, it's like, why is the devil such a hater? I mean, I know why, but like, dang, like, you really want God's children to curse him so bad. We only curse you, ugly. Anyways, 6 goes on to say, "All right, do with him as you please," the Lord said to Satan, "but spare his life." So Satan left the Lord's presence and struck Job with terrible boils from head to foot. Job scraped his skin with a piece of broken pottery as he sat among the ashes. His wife said to him, "Are you still trying to maintain your integrity? Curse God and die." Now, my thing is, as his wife, as his helpmate, you thought that was wise? Like, you're supposed to be helping him. You're supposed to be going through this with him, and you want him to curse God. That is why it's so important to pick our spouses properly, y'all. Because in times of need, you're going to need to lean on them. And if they're feeding you nonsense like this, it's easier or more likely for you to fold. It's more likely for you to curse God if your woman or man doesn't have that faith that can help you sustain the pain. Like, what are you talking about? But Job replied, "You talk like a foolish woman. Should we accept only good things from the hand of God and never anything bad?" So in all this, Job said nothing wrong. 11 says, "When 3 of Job's friends heard of the tragedy he had suffered, they got together and traveled from their homes to comfort and console him. Their names were Eliphaz the Temanite, Bildad the Shuhite, and Zophar the Naamathite." Jeez, that's hard to say. When they saw Job from a distance, they scarcely recognized him. Wailing loudly, they tore their robes and threw dust over their heads to show their grief. Then they sat on the ground with him for 7 days and nights. No one said a word to Job, for they saw that his suffering was too great for words. And that goes back to what I was just saying, how important it is to choose your spouse. It's so important to make sure you're in community that can support you in times like this. I mean, because Job was suffering so bad, his friends couldn't even speak. Like, it didn't even matter. Nothing you could say can take away his pain. So be there. Be around him, sit in silence, your energy's there. And for 7 days and 7 nights, they stopped what they were doing because, we're all grown. We all got things that we got to do. We have our own lives. But for you to cut out a whole week to do nothing but sit with me, that's real friendship. That's important. I'm going to read chapter 3, and that's the last chapter. So this is Job's first speech. At last, Job spoke, and he cursed the day of his birth. He said, "Let the day of my birth be erased, and the night I was conceived. Dang. Let that day be turned to darkness. Let it be lost even to God on high, and let no light shine on it. Let the darkness and the utter gloom claim that day for its own. Let a black cloud overshadow it, and let the darkness terrify it. I think that Job was suicidal, and I get it. Like, I'm not even tripping. Honestly, I have a testimony of when I was out of my mind and I felt like life wasn't worth living. And that was one of my strongest encounters with God, because I knew that those thoughts weren't of God, they weren't of me. So it was just like, like a wake up call. Like, why are you thinking this? Why are you thinking of hurting yourself, harming yourself? It was such a scary moment, but it also was needed because I invited God into my life on a different scale. I knew him before, but I chose to run to him and surrender to him and seek therapy. You know, I'm such an advocate for therapy. It helps, and I really just needed my mind to be right, because that was a whole spirit trying to take me out. Anyways, I'm going to move on to 6. It says, "Let the night be blotted off the calendar, never again to be counted among the days of the year, never again to appear among the months. Let that night be childless, let it have no joy. Let those who are experts at cursing, whose cursing could ruse Leviathan, curse that day. Let the morning stars remain dark. Let it hope for light, but in vain may it never see the morning light. Curse that day for failing to shut my mother's womb, for letting me be born to see all this trouble. Why wasn't I born dead? Why didn't I die as I came from the womb? Why was I laid on my mother's lap? Why did she nurse me at her breast? Had I died at birth, I would now be at peace. I would be asleep and at rest." It's just deep, 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 deep. He's cursing the day that he was born. He wished he was never born. And I get it. Like, you're going through all this suffering. It really would have been over if you wasn't born. But little does he know that he has purpose, and all the things that were taken away was for a reason. So he still didn't curse God, but he did curse the day that he was born. 14 says, "I would rest with the world's kings and prime ministers, whose great buildings now lie in ruins. I would rest with princes, rich in gold, whose palaces were filled with silver. Why wasn't I buried like a stillborn child, like a baby who never lives to see the light? For in death the wicked cause no trouble, and the weary are at rest. Even captives are at ease in death, with no guards to curse them. Rich and poor are both there, and the slave is free from his master. Oh, why give light to those in misery, and life to those who are bitter? They long for death, and it won't come. They search for death more eagerly than for a hidden treasure." So I'm going to stop right there, because I understand him. Why give light to those in misery and life to those who are bitter? He's asking God, like, people who are bitter, people who are wicked, people who are negative seem to be living a glorious life, seem to be living their best life. And sometimes in this day and age, it can look like those who don't follow Christ, those who are dibbling dabbling in things of this world, seem to be flourishing, seem to have it all. But I realize that just because they have these tangible things don't mean that their soul is at peace, that their spirit is at ease. They really might be, and 9 times out of 10 are struggling with their internal selves. They are struggling spiritually. They are lost, and they need gratification and validation from these outside things. They need to have tangible things of this world to feel better. But those who actually follow Christ are gaining life from living in the spirit, from following God. So it's a difference. They're filled with joy when they finally die, and rejoice when they find the grave. Why is life given to those with no future? Those God has surrounded with difficulties. I cannot eat for sighing. My groans pour out like water. What I always feared has happened to me. What I dreaded has come true. I have no peace, no quietness. I have no rest. Only trouble comes. I'm going to stop it here for this Bible study, but here Job is just comparing himself to those who don't really live a righteous life, and him and God knows that he is the most righteous. So it is confusing. It's like, why am I going through this? I thought I did everything right. But what I learned with that is just because you're righteous does not exempt you from suffering. It does not exempt you from sorrow. Life is going to bring you that. God allows that because I honestly believe that God allows that so that you can cling on to him, because sometimes we're so distracted with the blessings that he gives us that he needs to strip us from it. Sometimes we are so distracted by the tangible things or the things of this world, even as a follower, that you forget to talk to him. You forget to pray to him. You forget to actually get on your knees. You think that you are bigger than the program, and you just, yeah, God, I'll get to you. You don't even read your chapters anymore. You don't even disciple anymore. So it's very fast for us to lose track of what the goal is. And the goal is to teach each other. The goal is to come into community, to help service each other, to be kind, to love, and other things may get in the way of that. Now, I'm not saying that just because, you get a little distracted that you need all things to be stripped from you. But in this text, it's just teaching me that Job really thought that I'm that guy. I'm righteous. I serve. I give back. I pray. I fast. I intercede for my family. I don't deserve this. Granted, I don't think he deserved it, but it shows us that we are not above trials and tribulations, and it's only going to build our character, shape us, and we can later tell these hard times and these testimonies to other people, and it's going to help them when they need it most. I was actually watching a podcast where Philip Anthony Mitchell spoke about long suffering, and it was similar to what I was saying. He said, long suffering shows the true character of a Christian woman and a Christian man. And he says, if you don't know, you need to know that God is with you through this whole process. You are not alone. Even if you feel like you're alone and it gets quiet and you feel like God isn't hearing your prayers, God hears those who cry. God hears those that pray. So keep doing it and don't stop. Seriously. During trials and tribulations, it's easy for us to be disobedient. It's easy for us to go back to that life that is sinful. It's very easy for us to just give up. And the fact that you're not giving up, you're staying strong, you're staying bold, you're keeping the hope and faith in God shows exactly who you are. It shows how much you have grown. And Google's version of long suffering says having patience in spite of troubles, especially those caused by other people. So if you're going through a season where you need to suffer long, remember to pray. Remember that God is with you and you will come out on the other side. That wraps up today's Bible study on the book of Job. I will be coming back with a part 3. Stay tuned for that. Leave a like, leave a comment. I definitely want to hear back from you guys and have a dialogue. Share, and most importantly, subscribe. Put on your post notification bells so that you get notified the next time that I post. Bye.